Digital model pre-processing is exactly going to be the same, right? Then after the digital model pre-processing, you have the point cloud. With the point cloud, you superimpose onto the model. Again, this is a registration problem that you need to solve. For this, you also need at least 3 non-collinear point correspondences. If these points are actually going to be, again, identified on the model, that's going to be easy, right? But if you have errors or speculations of errors, you cannot use the points from the model to be able to do the registration, right? Yeah. So as an example of this, imagine I have a column here, okay? This column has some sort of mismatches in terms of its dimensions or in terms of its position. Can I say that I'm just going to be taking the points of different vertices of this column from the model and the point cloud and then register them together? Would this be a correct registration? Keep in mind that this column is not supposed to be here based on our plan. Yes. No, exactly. Yes. And that's exactly what I'm trying to say. When we have a speculation of error, even a speculation of it is sufficient, right? Because if I want to control the quality of this column, then I can't use this column or the information related to it from the point cloud to actually do my initial registration, right? So what do I need to do? I need to make sure that I have some pre-surveyed control points, that I know its location, and use those for the registration. Okay, makes sense? And that's basically what we have to do with the superimposition. Once we have the superimposition, then the problem is within some boundary of each and every one of these elements that we want to extract and detect, what points are there to extract and which points belong to what. Based on that, we can make a judgment whether this element exists, how far it is from the original element. This could be just a transformation, this could be the dimension and various different aspects that we need to control. And from that, make judgments on various different parts of the analytics. Okay? Then the elemental classification comes from that. Essentially, we get from here, which is the model elemental classification, to the elemental classification of the point cloud. Using that for every element, we can now compare them together. And in this case, I'm talking about elements being compared with respect to either their progress or with respect to their dimensional quality. Make sense? Okay. And then we get a visual assessment there as well. And if we have, registration with external, we also need additional image or point cloud processing. And this is if we have a large construction error or speculation of construction error. Okay? I'm talking about these so that you can kind of be aware of the fact that different parts of different types of information and levels of information actually contribute to different amounts of complexities for a problem in order for us to be able to extract information sufficiently to be able to, again, make better decisions. That's all we're doing here. So for the multi-view, you have different types of options to perform. So let's first formulate the problem. You have your photogrammetric reconstruction, which you've identified the sparse reconstruction, and your basic dense 3D reconstruction. So these two are given. And at the exact same time, you have the model with the elemental classification. So you have the same model, the elemental classification. Our problem is, how do we register these two together? Meaning that that coordinate system you see is here, the other one is here. You also are going to have some sort of differences in terms of the scale there, especially if these are not performed and built in the same manner. And the scale is important because, as we talked about, the best that we can reconstruct here is by means of similarity transform. So basically, how can we perform this? How can we even refine it?
if we can. And once these two are registered, how can we set and identify the correspondences? And there are multiple methods for each and every one of these. First, what are the strategies to register this? Because we can both utilize a strategy for single view, and we can utilize a strategy for using the point clouds. And then second, we're going to talk about some of the options to detect the correspondences.